What if the ETs had not been communicating with me? The same question for Peter. What if I never had healing sessions every time when I go out for a several-hour hike in the woods and ask for help? What if I was not fortunate enough to have financial stability and provide some support for family members in need? The vast majority of people do not fall into this category. So what are they to believe? We can see why doubts arise everywhere. This is why we need to have the EBS as soon as possible, so people can get a step-by-step explanation of what has been going on. This is necessary to pull the masses away from the precipice and then to see the good stuff that is coming. Until the EBS puts out the naked truth, most people will not wake up and continue to be miserable. At least that is my view of what is happening and what should happen. Building back trust and hope will be huge. And that does not even touch on the upcoming contact with benevolent ETs or the historical impact of the negative ETs. That is my 2 cents for now. We are getting close to the end of this phase of the movie. Have a wonderful day. Martin, I will leave your response to you, sir. The floor is yours.
Wow. Number I just sent you a couple more from him. And it is really frustrating to that we are so far ahead of these other people, of everyone else. No question about it. Really aggravating. And because we want them to catch up to us, and it's like, well, how the hell, how do they catch up to us if they're not given any information, and so I'm just like, yeah, I feel the same frustration as everybody else.
If I may offer my 2 cents, and yes, I hear you, sir. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and those who chose to come down here after lots of tequila, we need to remind ourselves that is part of, without aggrandizement, our use and mission here, and that when we fully remember who we are, we will remember, and we are beginning to remember, e.g., our frustration is rising a bit more, that our corporeal, our physical form, our bodies are the resonators. Our 12-strand DNA coming together are going to be the resonance points. Our souls and our remembrance of who we truly are in this body, or this type of body, we are the tuning fork. I believe and feel intuitively, we are the tuning forks that are going to help others to resonate and remember. But in the meantime, it's not a lot of fun, and it's quite difficult and at times exhausting, because we are rewiring ourselves, not only physically, but also at some level spiritually, e.g., our consciousness needs to recalibrate and entangle with higher waveforms, or remember how we do that, to allow a higher level of frequency and resonance and consciousness. And that's very subtle. It's very intricate. At one time, it's infinitely complex. At one time, it's infinitely simple, but we're in the mix of it. And we don't have those solutions yet, because that's part of remembering who we truly are. But I would one thing I do, and I always bless water or food and breath. I like to remind myself to breathe in light and breathe out the waste, and to create the greatest alignment possible. And by doing that, my life gets a bit simpler and easier, or as easy as it can be with the circumstances that I signed up for. So there is hope, not to be naive, but there is hope. And I think we're seeing, Martin, I hope I'm not talking too much, with all the chaff and flack and histrionics we see being reported, that's the system that's dying. And I think at a higher level of understanding, perception, and consciousness, the old tricks don't work anymore. We're not being distracted anymore. Look, squirrel, it doesn't work anymore. So, but in the meantime, there has to be a larger en masse arising of understanding. And I think it's happening, but I think it's going to happen, or is happening, at a rate that those of us who might be a bit more aware would like to see accelerated, because we're like, come on, let's get on with it, right? We all want a better world.